In this tutorial, I will show you how to make this small skull applique. I also have a tutorial for a larger skull applique. I will leave a link in the description box below that will bring you directly to this tutorial if you'd like to see a larger skull applique. I used the size 8 or 8 5mm crochet hook to make this skull applique. Now, if you want the skull applique to be just a little bit bigger, you can make it with an I9 5.5mm crochet hook. This is the 5.5mm crochet hook, and this is the smaller 5mm crochet hook. I want to turn it into a granny square, and I want the granny square to be approximately 4 inches. So if you measure this one, and this is going to be different for everyone. For me, this is going to be the measurements for my appliques. So for this smaller skull applique, it measures approximately 3 inches wide, where this one that I made with the 5.5mm crochet hook, it's just a little bit larger, is 3.25 inches. I do want to mention that everyone's tension is a little bit different. And here are some 4-inch granny squares that I made, and I will be using this to make a granny square. I wanted it to be approximately 4 inches. That's why I wanted to make a small one. I do have a larger skull applique, a video for one, but that one would work for a granny square that's about 8 inches. But if you want a smaller one, this skull would be the perfect one to use. Now I will be making this into a granny square, but you can also sew it onto a granny square as well, and it will fit perfectly on a 4-inch granny square. Now this larger one that I made with the 5.5mm crochet hook, it will also fit on a 4-inch granny square. I do make these little skulls with the 5mm crochet hook, but I did make the skull in the tutorial with the larger crochet hook. I did make the skull applique in the video with the larger 5.5mm crochet hook since it was easier to see the stitches on camera. That's why I wanted to make it with the larger crochet hook. But you can see either one will fit on a 4-inch granny square. You can sew them onto a granny square, but I will be making a tutorial where I turn this into a granny square. This skull will be the center of the granny square, and I'll show you how to do that in a future tutorial. I will be using 4-ply worsted weight acrylic yarn, and this is Red Heart Super Saver yarn, and the size crochet hook that I will use will be an I9 5.5mm crochet hook. I will start with a magic ring. To make a magic ring, you want to have the yarn facing down towards the table surface. I wrap the yarn over the top of my 2 fingers and then back over the top to create an X mark. And I will insert the hook underneath this strand of yarn here, and I will hook onto that strand in front of it. So you want to make sure the hook is facing down while you grab that yarn and pull it underneath, just like that, and then rotate the hook up so that the loop is now in the center of the X mark. And then I will insert my hook underneath this strand right here, and then I'm going to pull that through the loop right here. So to do that, I'm going to need to hold on to, pinch right underneath that loop there so I can pull that through. And now I have my magic ring. To start, I will chain 3 chains. And then I will do 5 double crochets into the magic ring. And when I work my stitches, I want to make sure that I wrap the yarn along the magic ring and work my stitches through the magic ring and over that strand. That way my magic ring will close up correctly when I'm done. If you do not work over this strand as well, then your magic ring will not close up correctly when you're finished. Okay, so now I'm going to work 5 double crochets. Okay, so I just did 5 double crochets into the center of the magic ring, and then I'm going to chain 7 chains. And then I will do a double crochet into the magic ring. So by doing that chain 7, that will be the first eye opening for the skull. And then I will chain 5 chains. And then I am going to do a double crochet into the magic ring. So that's what it looks like so far. And then I will chain 7. And then this time I will do a slip stitch into the top of that first chain 3 I did when I began this first round. So I'm going to pull the tail of the magic ring so I can close it up. Not all the way just yet. I just want to close it enough that I can get over to that chain 3, so that way I can join with the slip stitch. So I just did my chain 7. I am going to do a slip stitch into the top chain here of the 3 chains. Okay, now I can pull the magic ring to close it up. That completes round 1. So now for round 2, I will start by chaining 2. And then I will do a half double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So this chain 2, that is going to be right in line with that chain 3. And then the next 5 half double crochets are going to be worked in the top of each of these double crochets from the first round. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do 1 half double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So to do a half double crochet, you want to yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, and then yarn over and then pull up a loop. You will have 3 loops on your hook. You want to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops to do your half double crochet. So then I'll go ahead and do my next 4 half double crochets. Okay, so to recap, round 2 started with a chain 2 and then 1 half double crochet into the next 5 stitches, and this is what it should look like so far. Okay, now I'm going to be working into this chain 7 space. I am going not into the actual chains themselves, into the actual chain space. So I'll be inserting my hook into the chain space, not into the individual chains, but into the chain 7 space. Into that chain 7 space, I am going to do 2 half double crochets. So yarn over, insert your hook into the chain 7 space, and then pull up a loop. I have my 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so that's the first half double crochet worked into the chain 7 space. Now I'm going to do my second half double crochet into that chain 7 space. And then into that same chain 7 space where I just did the 2 half double crochets, I will do 5 single crochets. So now I'm working 5 single crochets into this chain 7 space. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I have my 2 half double crochets and then 5 single crochets. And then I am going to do a slip stitch into this chain 5 space. So to do a slip stitch, you just insert your hook into the chain 5 space here. That's the space in between the 2 eye openings or eye sockets. So into the nose space here, insert your hook into that chain 5 space and just do a slip stitch. So that's what it will look like so far. It's upside down right now. And then I am going to chain 3. And then into the chain 5 space, I am going to do 5 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. I did 5 double crochets. And then I will chain 3. And then I will do a slip stitch into the chain 5 space. So I'll do a slip stitch right here into that chain 5 space. And then I am going to do 5 single crochets into the chain 7 space. So now here's the chain 7 space for the second eye. So into this chain 7 space, I will work 5 single crochets. And then into that same chain 7 space, I will work 2 half double crochets. So into this chain 7 space, I did 5 single crochets and 2 half double crochets. And then I am going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that beginning chain 2. So I'm going to insert my hook into that top second chain and join with a slip stitch. And then I will join with a slip stitch, and that completes the little skull applique. So now I'm ready to fasten off and weave in my ends. I will go ahead and yarn over with that tail of yarn. Pull that through the loop, give it a little tug to fasten off, and then I'm going to pull the strand where the center magic ring is, just to close up that little center circle for the magic ring. So now I have finished the little skull applique. So now I'm just going to weave in all the ends. I only have 2 ends to weave in here. You could leave these tails here so you can use them to sew them onto something if you wanted to. I will be making this into a granny square, so I will go ahead and weave in my ends. And I'm going to weave in the end on the back of the work. And that completes the small skull applique. I hope that you enjoyed the tutorial today, and I want to thank you for watching, and have a great day.